You usually get those payments up front. So that's the thing people love about insurance is that before the client even moves in, you might get a check for like, $30,000 or something, which can be pretty crazy.
Hey everyone, Justin Cooper with Pine Financial Group, where we work together so you succeed. I'm joined here again with Ziana McIntyre, author of the new book, 30-Day Stay, all about midterm rentals. And in this video, we want to talk about how to manage these tenants. So midterm rentals is kind of a mix between the short-term Airbnb type rentals, because you're providing a furnished home for a relatively short stay, but also a long-term rental because these folks are staying for 3, 6, 9 months at a time. So there's definitely a different way to manage these. It's not managing a long-term tenant, but it's also not managing a short-term tenant. So Ziana, in some of the other videos, we got a little deeper into who these tenants might be, what markets we should be in. But on this one, how do we manage these folks?
Yeah, so you're coming to the right place because over my history in doing short and medium term rentals now, I've managed over 60 units in 5 countries. So I got really good at automation. I just had to. And so now we've trimmed it down, and it's really just 3 things that are really important to have. The first one is pricing software. And the reason this is important is that people don't realize, but these are also seasonal, like short-term rentals. So the medium-term space, you can get more in your high season and low other times. And so you want to be capitalizing on that. And people may not know the seasonality right out of the gate, but these softwares will. And so that will really help you capitalize. So linking up to a software is helpful. Then number 2, we use auto messaging software. So I use a site called Hospitable, but there are a few out there where you can pre-program messages. I have a series of 7 messages, and if you're interested in those, I have them in the book, 30-Day Stay. So you can copy my messages, make them your own, but I try to make it really easy for people. So there's kind of like a at the time of booking, a couple days after checking in, getting a review at the end, all that kind of stuff that you're going to say to every single guest. So why not just have it go out automatically and save yourself some time? And then number 3, we use the software called Avail. And Avail, I don't know, I think long-term people use this as well. So maybe you're familiar with it. But Avail is for first leases, which works out really well. You can do some tenant screening on it as well. But for us, just getting a lease that makes it easy, and you can e-sign right there. And then it does automatic rent collection. So you can get your deposit, you can set up automatic rent, and then you don't really have to worry about that step either. So there's lots of ways to make it easy.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. Let's talk about the lease specifically. Is there any special clauses, anything different from either a long-term lease or a short-term lease that we would want to have in these?
Yeah, I mean, we detail that out in the book. There's not a whole lot of things that I'm thinking that stand out. I mean, I want to be specific about can they have pets or not, where to park and not, what things they're responsible for. Generally, we cover all the utilities, so that's fine. What we usually give them that's a little bit shorter than a normal lease is that we'll give them 2 weeks notice for whenever they want to leave, because sometimes people just keep extending instead of a month notice because they want the flexibility to be able to leave at a moment's notice.
Interesting. And so a lot of these folks, are they on contracts like the corporate folks or the insurance folks? Is there some sort of contract that you're signing with corporate entities, or are these with the individuals?
So if you're booking through an insurance agency, you actually contract with the agency and not with the person. So that's nice because then you've got the agency that's going to cover any damages. So that makes it feel really safe. If you're doing just a travel nurse, if you go directly through that website, Furnish Finder, that I've mentioned before, you're working with them directly in general. If you find them through an agent, then you'll be working with the agent for the contract. So it just kind of depends. But what we like about nurses is that they're highly background checked for their job. And so we can just get a proof of employment, and then we don't have to do a background check and all that screening.
Huh. Interesting. Is there
Yeah.
any kind of guarantees with the corporate clients? They book it for 6 months, and then maybe the insurance, work is completed in 4 months or 5 months. And so the homeowner is moving back into their home. Is there any kind of guaranteed payments through the end of the 6-month term or anything like that? Or how does that usually play out?
Everything's negotiable, as in life, but you usually get those payments up front. So that's the thing people love about insurance is that before the client even moves in, you might get a check for like, $30,000 or something, which can be pretty crazy. So
Wow, that's
it's
really
nice.
interesting.
Don't spend
Yeah.
it all in one place.
Right. Well, that could be a great way though if you're buying if you're getting into this, you're buying another property and you're having all these expenditures of furnishing and everything else to in a way recoup that, fairly quickly, right? So that can be a
Yeah.
really interesting move there. Anything else we would say, any downsides to managing these things? Anything that's harder managing the midterm tenants?
I think the only problem I've had in the past is through pets. So generally, I'm just kind of leaning on the side of not accepting pets, and everybody has a different policy. Some people charge an extra deposit or even pet rent on top of it. For us, pets left alone too long can be really damaging, especially since you own all the furniture and some furniture, just the fabrics collect all of the hair. So it just ends up being a little more difficult. So in general, travel nurses traveling with pets, we generally don't do that. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, interesting. Well, Ziana, any last thoughts on 30-day stay and midterm rentals?
Yeah, I would talk about the book just a little bit. So, we wrote the book with the new investor in mind. I mean, it's definitely helpful for people that are transitioning from short term rental and do have experience. We wanted it to stand alone where someone could just pick it up, never having invested, and put it down at the end and be able to just go get a property because they had all the details. So, it's a very actionable, and then we also put in a lot of case studies, most of them from female investors, which is unusual and fun. So just making it fun to read and like easier to get through than just a step-by-step book.
Awesome. And where's the best place for someone to either find you or the book?
Yeah, so the book is at Bigger Pockets, biggerpockets.com/30-day stay. And if you use my name, Ziana, you can get 10% off. And then you can find me, Ziana McIntyre, at my website, zianamcintyre.com, or basically anywhere with social media. So just search me. It's an unusual name, so it's easy to find.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
And of course, if there's anything that we can do at Pine Financial to help you either get started or continue investing in real estate, you can find us at pinefinancialgroup.com.